Over the years, I've done a bunch of McLaren specs, so I compiled them all here for you. I want to know what your favorite spec is. Thank you for joining me on this episode of HWYSpec. We're going to do a spec build on a McLaren Artura Spider. The Artura Spider is new, however, that is not the big news. The big news is McLaren actually added more power to this.
More power!
So now you're looking at 700 PS, which is an increase of a small amount, relatively speaking. However, there's no denying that this is still a very cool car. The biggest knock against it and the Ferrari 296 is the fact that they have a twin-turbo V6, which a lot of people are not on board with. But for me personally, as long as it performs and it sounds good, and in this case, I'm okay with it, and I wanted to build out the brand new Artura Spider the way that I would personally do it. And of course, make sure to like the video, subscribe, those sort of things that the YouTube algorithm loves. Because if you enjoy this video, chances are other people will too. So there we go. We've got our McLaren website pulled up. We're going to go with the Artura Spider here. And McLaren, big news recently, they now have a new owner. Definitely going to be a part of something bigger. And I'm excited to see where this new owner takes them. But McLaren's been making strides in terms of their reliability. They've delayed this Artura Spider multiple times just to get it right. And here we go. We're going to configure one out. Very cool video that they have showing on their website right here. So first thing we have to do is decide, do we want the designer's choice, the creator's pick, performance amplified, or also performance amplified? Now, these obviously help you get started, but for me, I want to start from the base model. I want to get down to the basics and see all the options that I would personally pick rather than give me a specification that everybody else likes and I get to build upon it. That's not the way that I would personally do it. So first thing we have is the 60th anniversary Triple Crown paints, standard paints, elite, and MSO colors. Now, McLaren does not give you any pricing on these, but elite obviously is more expensive. MSO is even more expensive from there. But for me, honestly, I really like the bright colors on this Artura. I think it lends itself really well to that. And the McLaren orange, hard to beat that. Of course, if you've watched my videos before, I do tend to like the blues quite a bit. So Aurora blue, not a bad deal. This Saros gray looks really nice in person, has a little bit more depth to it than you can probably tell from here. And Mantis green, ooh, that's a good looking color, especially on some of the LT models where they have all the orange accents. I think it looks really nice. But I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done before, and that is choose a silver color. Typically, I stay away from silver, white, black, just because they're kind of boring, and this is a car that demands attention. But for me, being a convertible, I want the attention on the inside, the bright color on the inside, because you're going to be dropping the top, and I don't want a plain black interior in there with a bright exterior color. I want the focus to be on the inside when the top is dropped, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to choose Supernova Silver, and of course, I am going to go with a silver wheel as well. But I do like this star forged alloy wheel, and I haven't seen the interior options yet, but I'm kind of hoping there's a red option because I'm going to go ahead with the red caliper to hopefully match the inside. Standard Pirelli P0 tires. This won't see a lot of track time if I were to get one, but it would see the occasional track day. Next up, you do have the black pack, which honestly, I'm going to shy away from just because, as you can tell, it's kind of a silver theme. But of course, you can do exterior carbon fiber. And again, I'm not going to do it. I've talked about before when I've spec'd out a 765 LT, I will go all carbon on a track special vehicle. But considering this is a very streetable car, it's going to be a cruiser for the most part. Not going to go with the carbon fiber, even though it helps with the resale value and maybe the street cred. One thing that I do want to do is the contrasting front louvers. I would love to do that in carbon fiber. And honestly, it's not even the fact that it's carbon fiber. It's just that I like the contrast. I don't necessarily like the gills looking the same. And it looks like I can do that without doing the exterior carbon fiber, which honestly feels a little cheap. I don't know about that. I might have to go with the silver and just maybe wrap that at a later date and time because, yeah, that feels weird to have carbon fiber louvers and no other carbon fiber on the exterior. Of course, we're going to go with the sport exhaust. It's the only option. Staying with the silver exhaust tips, and the tonneau cover apparently is only gloss black, so I guess that's what we're going with. Now, you can do carbon fiber on the mirrors. Again, we're not going to go with that because there's no other carbon options. And then the roof, we can actually do the electrochromatic roof, which I'm really excited about because you can block out the sun or you can make it clear with the touch of a button. A really cool trick option that McLaren has had for a little while, and here I'm going to definitely do it too. We are going to do the thermal insulated windscreen, and we're going to stay away from the rear spoiler again because it's carbon fiber. All right, now we have the interior trim level. You've got the standard interior, which gives you the black Alcantara, Performance, Techlux, or Vision. And this is going to be the two that I'm looking at. Honestly, I don't know which one is going to be the best option. There's apparently only two Vision options. Techlux, there we go. Like I said, I was looking for the red. That's the one to go with. So here we can get the red interior option, which I think is perfectly suited for the silver exterior. You've got the silver accents on the inside as well. I think this is a perfect tritone mix between red, black, and silver. Exterior, interior, both. And of course, I could do the Club Sport seats, but I would rather have the power adjusted heated memory comfort seats. That's a nice way of saying old man, right? Old man. Seatbelts, I'd love some red seatbelts, but our options are McLaren orange or black, so we're definitely going to stick with the black. We could do brushed metal here, but I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to stay away from the Alcantara on the steering wheel because it wears over time. Again, we have carbon fiber options on the sill finisher. Going to add the McLaren speed mark to the center armrest. Nice little touch there. I can tell you the McLaren dealer would not be very happy with my spec so far because I'm not putting a ton of money behind it.
Sorry/not sorry.
We do have the Bowers & Wilkins audio system, which I think is a smart move to go with. Okay, we have the practicality pack picked out. That's tough to say. It includes heated power folding door mirrors. Took me like 4 tries to say that. Gives you the home link and soft close doors, which is actually really cool because on these doors that go up, if you don't pull it down hard enough, the soft close feature will help close it that final little bit. Got the technology pack with the speaker system, smartphone charging, and 360 park assist. Driving assistant pack 2, I am going to add that. That gives you the adaptive cruise control, and this is very much a GT car, so I do want that on there. Vehicle lift for sure. Volumetric alarm upgrade, might as well. Vehicle tracking system, yes please. And it's a good thing I'm not actually ordering this right now because I want to skip over the fire extinguisher, and I feel like that would be a bad omen. All right, we'll get the fire extinguisher. All right, looks like that is it. Here is my McLaren Artura in the simulated showroom, or this might be the McLaren Technology Center. I'm not sure which. But what do you think of that spec with the Supernova Silver with the red interior? I think this thing is really sharp, and I think it is something that I would love to have in my garage. V6 and all, I don't care. That is a very cool car. And it is no slouch for performance either. So there we go. That is my McLaren Artura Spider spec. How would you do it differently? Make sure to drop a comment. And if you made it this far, check out some of my other videos while you're here. Thank you for joining me on this episode of HWYSpec. My name is Trent. We're going to jump right into specking out a McLaren 750S. Now, the McLaren 750S has caught some flack because it's not that much different than a 720S. To me, it's obvious. Of course, it wasn't going to be the next version of whatever is going to replace the 720S. It is an evolution, an iteration update. And in doing so, it gains 30 horsepower and loses about 60 pounds, which is actually pretty remarkable when this was already considered the benchmark vehicle. And that is shown in McLaren's advertising. Benchmark beaten, it says right there on their website. And today we're going to spec one out. We're going to actually go with a Spider. We actually haven't done a Spider on this page in a while. It's usually always choosing the coupe, but considering this is not the track version, I think the Spider is the way to go. Now, some other things that were kind of overlooked when this was announced because everybody was expecting this whole new thing. I don't know what they were expecting, but
I want more!
the eye sockets are actually a little bit smaller. Those were very controversial when they first came out. They made those a little bit smaller. They've redesigned the front bumper. The suspension is a little bit redesigned as well. You can see this intake scoop here on the side by the door is brand new as well. So we're going to go ahead and configure one. It's go time. All right, so here is always the tough part of any McLaren build. They have a lot of colors to choose from, and I'm not going to go through all of them because right now as I'm recording this, I'm backing up hundreds of gigabytes of data to a new backup provider. So unfortunately, it's made my internet a little bit slow. So I'm just going to go ahead and pick a color because there are too many options to explore. Okay, and the color I'm going to pick is actually Cosmos Black. This is actually a really nice color if you see it in person, but I do like that the dark colors kind of hide that new change to the front bumper. The previous front bumper had a little bit of black in the middle of it, and I think that was actually a better look, but having a darker color kind of hides what they've done to that front end, which makes it a little bit stealthier. People think maybe you don't have the 750S when you do. I'm just still going to have a great time in this car. So I'm picking Cosmos Black. Now there are some new wheel options. This is the standard wheel, the turbine, but I really like this Strike 10-spoke wheel, and we're going to stick with the silver color.
I'm sticking with it.
Now the classic McLaren color is orange, so I could go with McLaren orange brake calipers, but for me, I actually think I'm going to go with red on this one because red and black just looks great together. All right, I am going to stick with the standard tires and not go with the track brake upgrade because, frankly, this wouldn't see that much time on the track. And this would make my McLaren dealer not very happy. I'm actually skipping over a lot of the options, including the exterior carbon fiber. I've talked about this before in the 765LT video. That is a car that I will go for the carbon. In this car, doesn't really matter to me. Now the exhaust tip here, you can get it in stealth or in silver, and part of me wants to go with the silver to match the other silver elements that I'm putting on the outside of the vehicle. However, the back end being completely blacked out like that, so your focus is more on the taillights, looks really nice. So I think I'm gonna go with the stealth exhaust tips. One thing I will do is the electrochromatic roof, so you can actually see it out of the top of it when the roof is up. All right, one thing that does carry over from the 765LT is the option for these carbon fiber front louvers, which I said I was not going to go with much in the way of carbon fiber, but this looks really cool. So I'll give you a quick visual change there. That's what it looks like standard. That's what you get with the louvers. I think the louvers, they look pretty nice. Also going to choose the Sound Comfort windscreen, so there is less noise in the cabin. Loud noises! All right, so I could go with the full Alcantara interior, but this is going to be more of a luxurious build, so I'm going to go with the Tech Lux interior and see what kind of color options that gets us. This, of course, does pick the comfort seats, and because I did choose the red on the outside, I do want to choose red on the inside as well, and I think this is going to look really nice. Like I mentioned on the exterior, we're going to skip over a lot of the carbon fiber on the interior as well. Pretty much all of it. We are going to get the power-adjusted heated memory seats because this is a comfort build. Now, I would say go with the red seat belts that would match the calipers. However, the difference between the red on the seat belt and the red on the seat is a little too much, so we're just going to stick with black. Again, skipping over a lot of these options, keeping the standard steering wheel, the Napa leather sill trim, not adding any of these extras to it. Kind of a low spec so far. I will add the Bowers & Wilkins 12-speaker sound system because that's not something that you can upgrade very easily through an aftermarket audio shop. Don't really want a lot of people pulling off door panels and upgrading the speakers, so we're just going to upgrade from the factory. All right, so we are going to add the 360 park assist. Hopefully that does come with the front and rear parking sensors and the rear view camera and sensors. It looks like it does. Going to do the volumetric alarm upgrade and the front lift, which is supposedly much improved on the 750S and only takes 4 seconds instead of the previous 10 seconds. Adding the home link, other than adding the battery charger here, I think we're just going to skip over all these options, and that takes us to the summary, which, like I said, kind of a low spec, more of a luxurious spec, but I think that looks rather sharp. You've got the Cosmos black exterior with the red interior and a few red accents like on the brake calipers there, sticking with the silver wheels, going with the fender louvers there. Otherwise, it's pretty basic. That said, it doesn't give us a cost because if you have to ask, it's going to be too much. However, it is going to be significantly less expensive than the Lamborghini Revuelto, which, based on somebody I know who has both a Revuelto and a 750S on order, the price difference is several $100,000 between the two.
Seriously? Seriously?
All right, so there it is, my McLaren 750S spec, how I would do it. What do you think of it? Thank you for joining me on this episode of HWYSpec. My name is Trent. We are going to spec out a very cool supercar. I am a big fan of McLaren, and just last month we spec'd out the McLaren Artura, which you see here on the screen right now. Very cool car, very cool spec. Of course, I am biased. However, today we're going to do a completely different McLaren. The Artura is definitely more street-oriented. I want to do something more track-oriented, and that is the 765 LT. So first thing we need to decide between the coupe and the Spider. Now, this is all predicated on using their configurator, so I know I am not getting one of these because the production is sold out or will soon be sold out. So the question is, do you go with the coupe or the Spider? And for me, if I had the option, I would go with the coupe because this is going to be a track-focused vehicle. So let's build a track-focused vehicle. So the 765 LT is the long tail version or their higher performance version. and 765 stands for the amount of power it makes in PS. So not your typical horsepower rating that you have here in the United States, but still going to be an incredibly fast vehicle. So let's configure it here. Now, first thing we need to figure out is the color. And this is where it gets really difficult because there are so many great colors. This Curacao blue, like, beautiful color. Green looks great on it. There's lots of orange accents to it, being that it's a McLaren, so of course orange works really well with it. I'm not a huge fan of yellow on it, especially that particular yellow. White, again, looks great. If you notice, I'm just kind of skipping right over the standard colors because I know there are some great options as we go down the list here. Vega blue looks tremendous, and smoked white, I haven't actually seen that one in person, but that one really does intrigue me. All right, the gray, love that. Looks great in red. Nardo orange, interesting one. But most likely I'm going to end up here in the MSO, McLaren Special Operations.
Special!
Their color palette. This Tokyo Cyan looks really nice. Sarth gray, oh, gorgeous. Paris blue, I think I mentioned in the Artura video, one of my all-time favorite colors, really. Cirrus gray, I think, is a contender for sure. Something about it. Ceramic gray, also a contender. The papaya spark is a little overdone in my opinion, so I think I'm going to stay away from that. It's really hard to narrow down, if you couldn't tell. So I'm clicking literally every color there is. And of course you've got Lantana purple, looks great, but I think this ceramic gray is the way that I would go. It's a little more understated given that this is a supercar. Usually I try to stay away from the understated colors, lean into the supercar-ness of it.
That's a made-up word, people!
I think it's really fitting of this vehicle to go with that color. And being more track-focused, it doesn't need to be a bright, shiny color. Yes, it will see some time on the road, but that's not where it will spend most of its time. So there are a lot of black accents on this, and given that this will be a track-focused car, I actually like the idea of the black wheels just for the fact that it hides the brake dust. It's not going to be a garage queen sitting there all the time getting polished. If it was more street-focused, I probably would go with the silver wheels, but I do like the gloss black with the laser-etched vehicle branding. You can see right there you've got a little 765 LT on the wheel, which is kind of cool. Yes, we're going to go ahead and upgrade the brakes to the track brake package, and then I think we're going to go with an orange caliper because of the orange accents on the outside, and of course we're going with the Trofeo R tires. All right, so the Club Sport pack gives you the lightweight carbon fiber racing seats. Already gives you that brake upgrade, the telemetry, which is kind of cool. Gives you cameras front and rear. They're not the best cameras, but it does give you the cameras so that you can see your lines later and should, in theory, help you out.
It helps.
Now, you do have the Club Sport Pro pack on top of that, which gives you the harness bar and gives you a 6-point harness as well. And I think that would be the smart move, again, being more track focused. All right, carbon fiber, we're just gonna load it up. Track focused, we want to make sure it has the lightest weight possible, but it is also visually appealing. So we're gonna add the carbon fiber package, and of course the price on this would be astronomical. Fortunately, the configurator doesn't give us any pricing, so we're gonna go ahead and do it. All right, so you've got the stealth pack as well. All right, let's pretend I clicked the stealth pack there. As each time I click it, the configurator just doesn't know what to do. It's really funny that the Maserati website was not functioning correctly, and same with McLaren. Both vehicles that kind of have an issue with reliability in terms of the general consensus of the public. That's not necessarily the case of all the owners, but from an outside perspective, they're not known to be the most reliable, and they're both the websites that have the biggest issues. So kind of funny. We'll go ahead and pretend that I clicked that stealth pack. We're going to add the carbon fiber panels, carbon fiber rear diffuser, carbon fiber front splitter, and the front fender. We're going to do the carbon fiber louvers.
What is that? Carbon fiber?
Front number plate plinth in carbon fiber. Front air intakes in carbon fiber. And the hood, we're actually going to go with carbon fiber. Surprise, right? Air intakes, exterior door upper, lightweight front badge, side skirts, and this is where I love the LT models, that you can get a roof scoop. These are not auctioned on a lot of vehicles, more so on the 675 LT. They're super rare. They were more popular with like the 600 LT and the 765 LT, but it is a very expensive option, so a lot of people skip over that. I think it's very cool. Speaking with people who have owned these vehicles, it provides a different sound because you hear the air sucking in from the cabin. I think that's really cool. And obviously it gives you fresher air being up higher. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Got the carbon fiber door mirror casings and the door mirror arms we're gonna do in carbon fiber as well. Active rear spoiler in carbon fiber, all the carbon options, if you couldn't tell. We're doing it all. Rear aero bridge, there we go. We've probably got at least over $100,000 in carbon fiber options at this point in time. All right, so we talked already about the reliability of their website, and that's the case again. For the interior, it doesn't want to render it for some reason, but I would choose this carbon black with the burnt orange Alcantara. That very tiny picture right there, you can see that it is more of a two-tone look, and every time you click something, you get like half a second glimpse of it. So that's what I would choose based on that half-second glimpse. We are going to do carbon fiber on the interior as well. We've already got the lightweight carbon fiber seats. I would go with the orange seat belts, give it a little bit more of a visual appeal. We're going with the visual carbon fiber steering wheel. You can see, again, it doesn't really want to render that. I'm fine with the manual steering column. And then sill trim in carbon fiber. Oh, there we go. Now it's showing the interior. You can see that two-tone look. I really do like that. The harnesses are a little busy, but hey, it's what you get. And now that I can visually see it, that burnt orange definitely is different than those orange seatbelts. So we're gonna go ahead and change those back to black. There we go. A little bit better looking there. All right, air vents in carbon fiber, center tunnel in carbon fiber, got door stowage pocket with net, the harness bar, the harness color. I think these are going to be the McLaren orange. Yeah, those are not gonna mesh well with that color interior, so we're going back to black. Now this push to drink system is interesting. You can basically have a little bottle back here, push a button, delivers a drink to you. If I were doing extensive track days like longer distances, that would be very interesting, but given that it would be more of the non-wheel-to-wheel track day type usage, that's not very appealing, so I'm going to go ahead and stay away from that. Do want air conditioning, believe it or not, but the 4-speaker system, that works for me, and we already had that track telemetry. So 360-degree park assist will actually be kind of nice, considering if you're harnessed in, you can't really move too much to look around and see what you're backing up towards. So we'll go ahead and do that. Not going to worry about the home link or the alarm upgrade. Well, let's go ahead and do the volumetric. Not going to worry about the alarm upgrade. There we go. We do have floor mats. That is an option. Not going to worry about the car cover, any of those things. So fire extinguisher, probably not a bad idea. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is my McLaren 765 LT spec. So unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I can get rid of this little summary over here, but we do have the MSO ceramic gray, lightweight wheels, track brake upgrades, orange calipers, best tires, club sport pack, all of the carbon fiber options, everything that you can think of. And I think it's a really cool spec. What do you think of it? What would you change? How would you spec out a 765 LT? But if you made it this far, thank you for watching first and foremost. If you did make it this far, please consider liking the video, subscribing, clicking the bell notifications, all the things the YouTube algorithm loves, so they push the video out to more people so I can make more videos like this for you. But thank you again for joining me. I will catch you on the next one. Thank you for joining me on the channel today. My name is Trent. This is HWYSpec. We are closing out December, where we did only the latest and greatest vehicles, some of the coolest cars on the road. And today we're going to do something I have never done before, and that is spec out a car from McLaren, which is really odd. I love McLaren cars, but for some reason I've never configured one before. So that's what we're going to do today. And not only just any McLaren, we're going to do their latest vehicle, which is more of an entry-level model, but it is a big step forward for the brand because it is still ridiculously fast. It's a hybrid, and it is the McLaren Artura. So here we are, we've got the McLaren Artura. I really do like the look. It definitely has some 720S vibes in the front. You've got that nice big side scoop, and I think it's going to be a really cool car as it gets into more people's hands. They've had quite a rough launch going forward with it, but I think they're working out the kinks, and it will be a great success.
Great success.
So the specification, you've got a couple of different options. The standard, which mostly relates to the interior. You've got the performance. You've also got the Tech Lux and Vision. So the Vision's going to be the most luxurious of the options. Tech Lux is kind of a mix, and then you've got some more performance-oriented interior options. Personally, I like sporty, but I do like a little bit of luxury as well. So I think Tech Lux is what we're going to go with. So let's jump into that and head to the paint. Now, this is always a tough thing on exotic cars because there's so many good options and there's so many levels as well. So you've got the standard paint options, none of which I think are bad. I really do like the silica white, vermilion red, and then you can go to the elite color options, which give you, a lot more to choose from. I do like Vega blue in person quite a bit. I think silver and white really suit this car well. You've got this flux green, which you see in a lot of press photos of the vehicle. And then you go to the MSO colors, which are going to be even more expensive, but also give you more options. Ceramic gray, I love in person. Papaya Spark is a very common color for McLaren. McLaren in general is big on oranges. The Lantana purple looks great. Helios orange, man, there's just too many colors to choose from. Paris blue, one of my favorite colors of all time. But I don't think it quite fits this vehicle. I think the volcano yellow looks nice though. For some reason, even though it's more subdued, I still feel like it needs something bright. And so with that in mind, I think I'm going to go with the McLaren orange. All right, so we get to the wheels. You've got the standard wheels there. Let's take a look at these lightweight wheels. Oh, I actually like the look of those. Kind of hard to choose between those two. I like them both, but I think given the slide edge to that one, let's check out the dark stealth. I do like the dark stealth. It's not quite black. The black, I think, is a little much. So I think dark stealth is the way to go with that. Now the brake calipers, they need to stand out a little bit more. So let's see what the McLaren orange does matching the paint. Yeah, I think that is the way to go. Let's just try out some of the other colors. The green match as well. Gold, not so much. Bronze, not so much. Black is too subtle. Yeah, the polished. I kind of like the polished, but I think it doesn't quite go as well with the wheels. Yeah, I think we're sticking with the McLaren orange on that one. And we're going to go with the standard Pirelli P0 rather than the Corsa tires, which are more track oriented. All right, so on the exterior, we can do the black pack or the carbon fiber pack. And being that it's a more GT cruiser, I think I'd rather go with the black pack rather than the carbon fiber pack. Carbon fiber, it's really easy to go overboard with that. So you've got the front fender louvers, which are really cool. Curious to see what they're like in body color. It looks nice, but I think the black really sets it off. Of course, if I was going for more carbon fiber options, I would go with carbon fiber, but I think black is the way to go. And of course, we're going with the sport exhaust. We're going to make sure that it is as loud as possible. We already have the stealth exhaust as part of the black pack. Same with the door mirror there. And now the roof, we could go with a black roof, and that provides an interesting look. I don't love it, I don't hate it, but I think the orange is the way to go. It seems to be very much a trend of going with the black roof, but I think the way to go is just with the orange roof. Thermal insulated windscreen for sure, gonna go with that. And Not going to go with carbon fiber spoiler. All right, this brings us to the interior, which only has a couple options with this TechLux package. Personally, I would love a tan interior, but with the orange exterior, I don't think that's the way to go. And definitely not the red. The red with the orange interior is definitely going to be a bit much. Now the ink and jet black with the teal accent. I think the teal accent works really well with the orange. A little bit on the boring side in terms of being all black, but those teal accents do help. All right, so we're not going to go with the high gloss black interior or the carbon fiber. All right, but I do want to go with power adjusted heated memory comfort seats because we're going to be spending some time in here. And then going with McLaren orange seat belts to match the exterior and the brake calipers. I think that's a smart option. I think the black leather, always the way to go with a steering wheel. I'm not going to go with carbon fiber there as well. All right, again, not a track vehicle, so we're not going to do the harness bar, and that isn't available with our seats anyway. We are going to add McLaren branding on the armrest, might as well. Probably a way expensive option. Now, I do say it is not going to be a track-focused car. That does not mean it's not going to spend some time on the track. If I had this car, I would take it to the track. Granted, it would be very rarely and more of like HPDE events, nothing too dramatic, no wheel-to-wheel stuff for sure. So, lap time function and cameras. So even though the cameras on these have been known to not be very good, I still think it's going to be beneficial. And I think we'll stick with the McLaren audio system unless it was a unless it was a really good value, I would go with the standard system. But because it doesn't have a price, we're going to pick the Bowers & Wilkins. Because if money was not an option, I would spec the Bowers & Wilkins system. Okay, so the practicality pack, yes. Vehicle lift, power folding heated door mirrors, and you've got the front and rear parking sensors for sure. Technology pack, full LED adaptive headlights, auto high beam, it gives you that speaker system, road sign recognition, adaptive cruise control. Yeah, we're just going to go with all those things. All right, volumetric alarm upgrade, sure, why not? Vehicle tracking system, yeah. Not going to go with fire extinguisher, going with the English manual and system language. And a printed owner's manual, I think that would be pretty cool. All right, so we are going with, there we go. There we go. It's going to show us that whole doors up thing because they're the billionaire doors, right? So this is how I would spec a McLaren Artura, the McLaren orange with the black, with the teal accents on the interior, with the orange seat belts. We've got the practicality pack. We've got not so many track-focused options, but we do have the sport exhaust, the stealth wheels, and I think that's a good-looking car that would get the right amount of attention. Yes, being orange, it would gather more attention than it otherwise would, but somewhere like Southern California, this thing would just blend in with everything else. Now here in Utah, it might stand out a little bit more. So what do you think of my spec on the McLaren Artura? What would you do differently? How would you spec it out? What other McLaren should I be speccing out here? Because like I said, this is the first one that I've done. So if you've made it this far, I want to say thank you first and foremost. But if you made it this far, I also ask that you like the video, consider subscribing, clicking the bell notifications, all the things the YouTube algorithm loves, so that they push it out to more people, so that I can make more videos for people like you. So thank you again, and I will catch you on the next one.